In 2003, I was sentenced to 144 years in prison. I ended up doing 16 years, 11 months in prison, and now I'm a principal of a school. People want to know how and why. So here we go. While I was incarcerated and dating my would-be wife, shout out to us. We're getting ready to celebrate 5 years, by the way. Oop, let me check back here. I had the opportunity to get a trade. Most guys, you get the opportunity to get in a trade. They've got different trades from computer-aided drafting to welding to carpentry to plumbing, whatever. You pick and choose. You get on the list, and when your name's called, you get in there. I had the unique opportunity to get into the barber class, and the institution that I was on, Haynesville Camp 17, this would be the first barber class ever, and they'd only have 5 seats. I was able to get in on that class. Shout out to Mark Allison, who was the instructor and also incarcerated at the time. Now, here's the weird part about it, or not necessarily weird. I didn't want to be a barber, y'all. I will tell you that. But my wife, or soon-to-be wife, she was a licensed master cosmetologist. And while we were talking on the phone, we were planning some things. We were saying, hey, this is what we going to do if we going to be together. And we ain't playing. And I seen the potential in what she wanted to do, which was to one day have a cosmetology school. I said, hey, I don't have a surefire plan. I don't know necessarily what I'm going to do. I've been locked up for 17 years. The least I can do is get my barber's license. One, it's going to impress you and put some numbers on the board and give you even more reason to marry me. And two, it's going to help with whatever you got going on until I can figure out what I want to do in this life. I knew I wanted to be a speaker. I knew I wanted to be a mentor, but I didn't know how I'd be able to make money and support myself doing it. It was more of a passion project. But this, I could see. She was making money as a cosmetologist, and people loved her as an educator. It was 1 + 1 = 2. So I got my barber's license. She was, at this point, a licensed master cosmetologist educator, and man, the students loved her. And I'd always hear good reports. I would hear the students when I'd call sometimes, and she'd be at the schools, you know what I'm saying? They'd be like, yo, Miss April was the best. I was like, oh yeah, we got to do this thing. And I just told her, I was like, when I come home, I'm going to work hard. We're going to get us a school. I don't know how, but we're going to get us a school. We got to do this. We both want to help people. And the more we talked about it, we knew if we could get a building, not only would it be a school, but it'd be a place of ministry, just a place where people can come be safe. More than just education is what I'm saying. We had a plan. I came home and man, we were excited, but 3 months later, the pandemic hit, and man, it was something. I'm not gonna lie. This was a extremely difficult period of time. You've got to think, not only was I coming home after 17 years of prison, I was trying to mentally adjust, and I'm gonna tell you, there were some dark times. But this is why it's important to have good people around you. And I always got to give much respect to my wife, my family, my friends, etc. Those that stuck by my side and continue to move me forward. I was going to work, I was making progress, but the end of the world was coming on top of everything. And every time you looked up on the news, the numbers were going up for people that had lost their lives. And this was an overwhelming thought. And you want me to worry about tomorrow, babe? And building a future when I don't even know if we're going to get through today. But she kept focused on a dream. She started doing paperwork, having me sit down, doing research with her. And in the meanwhile, me and my right-hand man and business partner, shout out to my man Ace Callahan, Boog. Maybe y'all see him up here one time. We were working in the factory, and man, we needed just another thing to do. Everything was shutting down. The restaurants were shutting down, and we were both hustlers. So we driving forklifts, picking or whatever in the warehouse, and we was, coming up with dreams and scenarios of how we could get some more money right now during the pandemic, because it seemed like a good season, and we could do it the legal way, by the way, because I ain't trying to go back to prison. So we came up with an idea to sell Chicago-style hot dogs and whatever else on the corner, MLK, down here in Atlanta, in the middle of the hood, man. Let me tell you something. We sold enough hot dogs, chips, sodas, and whatever else to eventually get us a food truck for $5,000. Thought we was going to go in the food truck business, but didn't stay there. What happened was I told bro, I was like, man, we could sell this food truck for more because it was decent. We got it on a steal. I was just trying to get us a couple more dollars. Bills was bills. And I put it on the market for 20K, man. And I'll never forget, somebody came without hesitation and bought it. And that's why I always tell people, sometimes, man, it's a blessing, whatever you want to call it. Sometimes it's not your skill set. Sometimes it's just timing, because I promise you, that was just a Hail Mary and a shot in the dark. From there, man, I took my half or whatever from the business investment, and I told my wife, quit her job. I said, they already, you're trying to go work at a salon, they're closing stuff down. The school doesn't that you're working at right now as an educator doesn't know if they're going to be able to pay you. I'm just going to put a salon suite in our house, which I did. It was a professional salon suite. Shout out to the contractor that came in and did it for the low, because man, we wouldn't have been able to do it for any more than that. But it was a good investment. And then it was just being strategic, man, not spending anything. To this day, I get 2 pairs of shoes a year, and they're for my birthday every June. I promise you. I did not have a new car until this year, and it wasn't because I wanted to. It's because my old car conked out. I never had a payment. I did not care if I had a rust stain or whatever on my vehicle. I'm never trying to keep up with the fact. None of that. I'm frugal and strategic. And that's what is allowing us, or what allowed us to invest in our school. We didn't have rich parents or rich families. We're first generation entrepreneurs, and anybody that's been in that position knows one thing. It's scary, and you don't have the money like everybody else. And I'm gonna be honest with you, about a month before we were able to open, we didn't have the money to, but we were able to, you know what I'm saying? We worked hard, we hustled, we DoorDash, we did what we had to do. I remember before we were getting ready to open the school, though, my wife looks at me. She's like, well, we got to put the positions down on paper. And I was like, okay, what's my position? I'm thinking like, I don't know what I'm going to be on paper, like janitor or something, right? She's like, well, you're going to be the executive director, which is basically the principal of the school. And I looked at her, I said, you tripping. I said, this your school. She said, no, this our school, and you're my husband. And there's no way that if you lead our household, that I can't trust you to lead here. And I tried to tell her like 70 times in a row over the course of some days, don't do this. I'm not the guy. I don't even want to necessarily be in there, but I got to be in there. But I'm already thinking like, I'm in a cosmetology school. I'm a dude with tattoo. Like, oh my goodness, this is not going to work. But it did. And she seen something in me. And all it was I just was sincere, and continue to be sincere in this role, and just mentor, and just kind of set up people to be successful. We have 100% graduation rate here, state board passing rate, and we continue to hold true to that. It's not easy, but it's so rewarding, y'all. Fortunately, the school, my story or whatever, has been in the news a few times, from prison to principal, and grateful for that. And it's just, for me, it's the opportunity to show people that all things are possible, that excuses don't have to exist in the way that we allow them to. And man, you can keep going. Man, if you got more questions about this, because I kind of, gave the shortened version, I got y'all. I might go on a live and speak specifically about this, but you can check us out at Lasting Layers of Beauty Institute, everywhere, man. And that's it, man. Appreciate the support. So much more of the journey to show y'all. Just wrapped up with Matt Cox, True Crime 2, man. Got some stuff locked in with Ian Bitt, getting ready to drop too soon. All right, y'all. Peace.